So hello and welcome to the video, but not just any video. This is my 50th upload, which feels like quite a landmark. I'm not counting my 30-second introductory video in that total, which was the first video I uploaded, basically just to see how YouTube worked. I would have deleted it a long time ago, but it's managed to get 2 hours of watch time, and every hour counts right now, so I will leave it public until I get to 4,000 watch hours. Speaking of which, it looks like the 1,000 subscriber target for monetization is going to be trickier to reach than the 4,000 hours of watch time. So if you're not subscribed to this channel, please consider doing so, as it would really help me out. You'd be completely free to unsubscribe again when I get to 1,000. I've uploaded a couple of monster videos these last 2 weeks, and my quarterly update video promised that my next video would be 6 things I won't travel without. One small detail needs to fall into place before that video is ready, so fingers crossed I'll be able to publish that next week. Which allows me this week to upload an update to my series of videos on the British Airways Executive Club. So stick around! Hi, I'm Matt. Over the last 25 years I've travelled a lot. I've lived in 5 countries on 4 continents. I've flown over 1.3 million miles. I've visited over 100 countries, every American state, but I'm nowhere near done. So subscribe to the channel so you can come with me. So I made those videos about the Executive Club last September, which seems like an eternity ago. Since then there have been 5 newsworthy events that I would like to update you on. Plus there's one thing I didn't mention in that video which I think would be of interest to you. There's a link to that video up here, but I'll pop it in the description below as well. I made them before I invested in my new lighting system, so you can just about see me in them. 2 of those updates I think are quite significant, so with apologies for being a bit of a tease, I will deploy YouTube best practice and save them for the end of the video. Number 1 on the list is that the OneWorld alliance, of which British Airways is a part, has grown since September. In the months before I uploaded those videos, LATAM left OneWorld and Royal Air Maroc joined. This obviously narrowed coverage of South America but increased coverage of Africa. Indeed, Air Maroc adds quite a few interesting destinations to the network. As they joined in the middle of a pandemic, there wasn't a great deal of coverage of them joining, and I do remember there were some initial IT issues, but travelling somewhere interesting with them is certainly on my to-do list. And at the start of April this year, Alaska Airlines joins the OneWorld Alliance. I've flown them a few times and I quite like them. They have a bit of a different feel to them than the legacy US carriers, and will be a nice alternative to American Airlines on many routes. They also add some interesting destinations in Alaska, but despite the name, they are a national US carrier with a strong presence along the west coast and hubs in Seattle and Portland. A few Latin American options too. An interesting option to work into future US tier point runs, so welcome Alaska. So number 2 on the list is the only real negative point I have to make today, so let's get it out of the way. In the middle of March, British Airways, with no fanfare, no notice and no apology, devalued Avios. A bit. In certain circumstances. As I've said before, the major risk of holding a loyalty points balance is that the owner of the scheme increases the cost of redemptions. This instantly diminishes the value of the balance that you hold. You still have the same number of points, but they are now worth less. This risk leads to the general point that you should spend your loyalty points pretty quickly, if at all possible. And that's what BA did. So here is the old redemptions chart, and here is the new one. So for all economy and business redemptions of less than 2,000 miles, British Airways has increased the cost by 750 Avios. Annoying, but by no means a disaster. If you value an Avio at 1p, that's an additional cost of about £7.50 per flight. Longer redemptions saw no change in pricing. What is irritating about this is that BA didn't make any public announcement about this at all. They obviously decided that either people wouldn't notice, or they would consider it so trivial they wouldn't complain. It's all a bit odd, as why would they risk antagonising the loyalist of their customers in the midst of a pandemic over a really small change that will have a negligible impact on BA's revenues. On the plus side though, and point 3 on this list, is that British Airways has taken some steps to ensure our loyalty through these difficult times. If you have status, it will have been extended. Depending on when your year ends, that will have been for 1 or possibly 2 years. It's all a bit complicated and I won't go into too much detail here, but I also wouldn't rule out the possibility of further extensions. Plus, qualification and requalification limits have been reduced by 25%, which makes it easier to gain or retain status during these difficult times. They have pledged to keep those reduced limits in place through June 2022, which may be pretty helpful for people as travel rebounds in the next 12 months. Upgrade and 2-for-1 vouchers have had their validity extended as well. Right, number 4 on the list is that thing I omitted from those earlier videos. There were actually lots that I omitted from them, but this one might be of particular interest. With Alaska Airlines joining the alliance, there are now 14 airlines with whom you can redeem your Avios. But when researching my video on which Star Alliance program you should join, I was reminded that airlines will frequently allow redemptions on their partner airlines, even where those partners aren't part of the same global alliance. ANA allows redemptions on Etihad as an example. The same is true of British Airways, although more accurately I'd say it's true of the International Airlines Group, which owns British Airways. When researching this video, I found an excellent Head for Points article which explains it better than I do, but they discovered that there are actually 27 airlines that you can redeem Avios on, which sounds like 13 more than you might think just from the Alliance membership list. I'll link to that article in the description. Most of these redemptions are made possible by the fact that Avios are the loyalty currency in use by both Iberia and Aer Lingus. And you are able to, relatively easily, move your Avios around using the Combine My Avios function. Iberia then has a number of redemption agreements in place with airlines including Vueling and Level, both of which are low-cost carriers within the IAG group, as well as a few others including Binter Canarias and, in some circumstances, Avianca. So if you're long on Avios and your bucket list includes flying from Gran Canaria to Fuerteventura on Binter Canarias, and you have an Iberia Plus account to redeem through, and you're happy using avios.com to move Avios around, and you're happy dealing with anything that might go wrong in Spanish, then this is news you can use. Although I noticed that Binter Canarias does fly from Gran Canaria to Nukushot in Mauritania, which could be fun. Right, number 5 on the list, and it's another good one. Avios has teamed up with the Nectar reward scheme. Avios used to have an agreement with the Tesco Club Card scheme, but that ended last year, and in February they announced a tie-up with Nectar. Nectar, of course, being Sainsbury's loyalty scheme. The interesting part of this is that for the first time, the value of an Avios has been cemented, and it's been cemented at 0.8 of a p. So 400 Avios can now be converted to 640 Nectar Points, which will be worth £3.20 in Sainsbury's or Argos. You should be able to do better than 0.8 of a p if you redeem them shrewdly on flight rewards through BA, but this is better than the 0.5 of a p valuation that underpins a lot of BA's online stuff, including their wine club. I certainly have found myself in Sainsbury's far more frequently than I would otherwise since this has been announced. So if you have a pile of Avios, then, subject to relatively high volume limits, you can now cash them out. And as Nectar will push bonus offers to you each week, you can find yourself earning a decent haul of Avios through your weekly shop. And finally, number 6 on the list is a deal that has been struck with Barclays. If you sign up with Barclays Premiere Rewards, you can then sign up for their Avios reward scheme. For a fee of £12 per month, a new customer will then earn a 25,000 Avios welcome bonus, plus will earn 1,500 Avios a month, which for the first year would total 43,000 Avios for a cost of £144, which is 0.3 of a pence each, which is excellent. If you're already a Barclays Premiere customer, you will only earn a 2,500 Avios welcome bonus, which alongside the 1,500 avios you'll earn per month will total 20,500 avios in that first year, which for £144 will give you a value of 0.7 of a pence each, which is still fairly good. Each year after that, old and new customers alike will earn 18,000 avios a year at a cost of £144, which, unsurprisingly, works out at a value of 0.8 of a p. There's that valuation again. But if that's not good enough, there is more. And at the end of each membership year, you will get an upgrade voucher, which you can use to upgrade both legs of a round trip, one class of travel. An upgrade to first is not allowed, so this means economy to premium economy, or more likely, premium economy to business. A couple can use that voucher to upgrade both of them one way. I use the word upgrade because that's how it's described in their marketing material, although you are much better off looking upon it as an Avios discount voucher. So there needs to be reward availability in the higher class that you want to travel in, and they will then charge you the Avios cost of the class below that. So to bring back my Avios cost chart, if there was off-peak availability in business class from London to New York, which is zone 5, then by using the voucher they would charge you 26,000 avios each way rather than the 50,000 avios it would normally cost. So on a return flight, that voucher would save you 48,000 avios, which at a valuation of 0.8 of a p is £384. So to maximise this, if you could find availability in business class on a peak travel day from London to Sydney and back, that would save you 100,000 avios, which would have a notional value of £800. A couple of fairly big ifs there, because reward availability from London to Sydney is about as rare as an honest politician, but you get the idea. Check out my advanced video on the BA Executive Club for coverage of the 355-day rule, which is the best way of securing those very sought-after seats. It'll be a year before anybody actually earns one of these vouchers, so the small print has not been fully pressure tested yet, but there is likely to be significant value from this deal and it is well worth a look. There are eligibility criteria that you do need to meet to be eligible to sign up for the Barclays Premiere scheme, and changing banks is certainly a non-trivial exercise. But on the other hand, there are non-Avios benefits of being a Premiere customer, and you can earn additional Avios if you then take out a Barclays mortgage or an insurance product. I was actually already a Barclays Premiere customer, so I've missed out on that 25,000 Avios welcome bonus. And 25 years ago I used to work for them, so I've discovered that deep in the bowels of the system there was a hidden staff flag which has conflicted with this rewards program. Which means that after a month of trying and calling Barclays, I'm not certain it's yet working for me. But as I do quite frequently travel alone, there are some ways in that this is a better program than the Avios 2-for-1 reward scheme, for me at least. So there you go, 6 updates to the BA Executive Club that you may benefit from knowing. So thanks for watching. As always, please like this video. I love to read your comments and I try and reply to all of them. And if you are new, it would help me out if you would subscribe to the channel. There's no cost, there's no obligation. All it does is make it easier for YouTube to let you know when I've released a new video. So thanks for watching. I'll see you all again soon. Goodbye.